Walking into this space is so beautiful. I took a moment during the first song and just looked around at everyone and the beautiful music, the beauty of connecting, the beauty of taking it in, dancing. Keats said that truth is beauty, and beauty truth. And that is all ye need to know. So now, as you might imagine, my talk today, what I would like to share today, is about beauty. We talk a lot about love. We talk a lot about joy. We talk a lot about peace and wisdom, consciousness, transformation. We don't always talk about beauty. And so I am so excited to bring this to you today on beauty. So a few weeks ago, you may have heard our fearless spiritual leader, Cliff, share about the retreat that we attended, the SOAR retreat that happened to be in Banff. I was so excited for this retreat. And I want to kind of keep saying retreat. That's what it was meant to be. And I was really excited to do just that. I was excited to go and rest, give myself some respite and nourishment. We hadn't been to Banff before, and I was so excited to see Banff. And when we got there, and we were staying in the Center for Arts and Creativity, I might be getting that name incorrect, but every view out of every window was gorgeous, filling my soul. But we didn't have a whole lot of time to appreciate that because we were diving into the music. We had a job to do. We were being of service, bringing music for the first part of that retreat that was for ministers. And you heard Cliff sharing about that. And a lot of that was such a wonderful experience. And some of it was hard. And part of that was the night before a long day of music, I didn't sleep well. I slept for maybe 3 hours because I had 5 new songs going on in my head. So I couldn't sleep. I woke up early and I was just listening to the songs, making sure I knew them. I wanted to make the other musicians proud of supporting them in their songs that they did. And so by the end of that day, I was exhausted. And that night, the retreat started. But I went and I enjoyed it. Christian Sorensen was absolutely amazing. And the retreat, what I didn't realize was that it was made to be a journey. So if you missed any part of that retreat, you were missing this journey, this beautiful journey that they had planned for us. And the next day, I did make it to see some of the talks in the morning, but I was so tired I had to skip out on the afternoon and rest, and I didn't get much rest. For some reason, I couldn't even sleep. I slept maybe 20 minutes. There were other beautiful things about this retreat, by the way, which included having dinner with Sue Edwards and Elaine Markle, who were there, which was wonderful. But I was dead tired. I decided to skip out on Friday night, and then we were leaving Saturday morning. We wanted to get back for a celebration here. And so I had a little meltdown, a mini meltdown. Cliff might call it mini, might not call it mini. But I was tired and I just started to cry because I didn't get the experience that I wanted out of the retreat. And he very carefully of me said, well, you know, we planned that long drive home that drive on the 93 from Banff to Jasper because we wanted to see the beauty. And he said, we don't have to go that way, sweetheart. We can just take the short way. We'll get home. We'll have a chance to relax. We won't get home too late. And I took a breath, and I knew, no, I need that trip. I need that beauty. And so we got our things together. We started down the 93. And oh, my gloriousness. The Rockies, which look like cathedrals coming out of the earth. The jagged edges, the marks full of history. That's quite a mystery, but it's there. The glacial waters, so clear, so pristine, green like no other shade of green. And it did what beauty does. It lifted me out of that small self place I was in. It lifted me out of the sadness. And it wasn't like the sadness wasn't completely gone. It wasn't like it was entirely gone, but although I felt small, I also could feel that belonging, that participating in something so much larger than me. And yet it is me. And beauty does this for us. Emerson said that beauty is God's handwriting. I love that. And Ernest Holmes said that life is always trying to get to something fuller, richer, more beautiful through us, as us. It restored me. It was so healing. And as we kept going, oh my God, the ice fields. There was snow on some of the mountaintops still. And we knew we were coming up to Jasper. And we had been to Jasper the first year that we were here. We went for our anniversary and just fell in love with it. So the following year, last year, when the fires happened, we were weeping with all of you who love Jasper, and it's so much a part of your lives. And so we knew we were coming up to see what had happened with the fires. And we did. We could see the trees, like so many trees that were burned. And we were quiet as we drove through this. And then we noticed how the light was getting in. The light coming into the ground and the undergrowth returning. And it was beautiful to see that. The resilience of nature. How beautiful. And then we were getting closer into Jasper, and we could see all of the mobile homes that were for people who had lost their homes. And we had made the decision we wanted to go into Jasper to support the town. We wanted to have a meal there. And so we weren't sure what to expect. We drove in and saw that the Airbnb we had stayed at the year before was gone. So many homes gone. And much of Jasper, the town that we had enjoyed when we were there, was still there. We were very happy to see, and there was a bubbling kind of energy there, a spirit. I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but I was wowed by it. And we stopped in a restaurant, and our server was lovely, and I asked her, so how is it going since the fires? She said, oh, we're doing great. We're building back the town. It brought tears to my eyes. the resilience of people, the resilience of humanity. We are all made of that stuff. We are so powerful. And there's a word for this kind of beauty. It's called moral beauty. Maybe you've heard that term before. Moral beauty, where we witness humans in incredible acts of courage, overcoming incredible adversity, challenge, and also being kind, expressions of kindness. When we witness these things, it's beauty. It lifts us. It reminds us of the goodness of who we are. The power, the strength, the love. Carl Sagan talked about the cosmos is looking back on itself through us. That our appreciation of beauty is not just an admiration of something ornate, ornamental. No, it is essential. It is essential beauty in our lives. That drive brought me back to what Keats was talking about, truth. The truth of who we are, the truth of life itself. I had an experience. It was also the first year we were here. Gosh, lots happened that first year. I was driving and decided to pull over. I needed to get some gas, and I decided to go in the mart. And this was in an area where there were a lot of homeless people. And I went inside, and there were two lines, two people at the registers. My line, I was about 3 or 4 people back. And this line over here, there was a man who was a couple back. And he turns around and he looks at me, and he says, "Hey, I like your pants." I said, "Thanks." And he appeared to me to be homeless, just in the way his clothes were, the way he appeared. But we struck up a conversation there. And he got to the front counter and bought, I think it was like 2 lottery sheets. And he pulled out coins. You know, I was thinking, I'm probably projecting, but I'm like, oh my God, that's probably all he has. And oh, I hope he wins, you know. And the next thing that happened was he turned around to leave, and he turned toward me, and he came right up to me and said, "Hey, thanks for the conversation," and handed me one of his sheets. He wanted me to have it. Yeah. I would say yes. It kind of brought me to my knees in humility, the generosity of this man who clearly appeared not to have a lot, gave me half of what he just purchased. It meant so much to me. This was a great example of moral beauty that at once humbles us, and we feel our own smallness, and we feel awe. I was telling someone yesterday that I was going to be giving a talk on beauty, and she says, "Ah," and I said, "Yes, exactly." That's it. It's awe. And I read recently about a study that was done. And it was a study on the impact of beauty in our lives. And it was called the 9 Beautiful Things Practice. So I want to share it with you as a practice to support you in your joy-filled life. And what it was each person, as part of the study, just for 1 week, was told to make it a practice, an intention to look for beauty in the day. Look for 3 times you see beauty in humans, 3 times you experience beauty in nature, and then 3 times where it just comes from wherever. And then reflect on it in the evening. Take about 15 minutes and just write about the experience. Recall the emotions that came up for you in those moments. And so they did, and what they found was that it supported people who were feeling depressed and sad. It lifted them. It brought them out and into more joy, more happiness. It also supported their stress levels to go down. And that impact lasted even after the week. A month later, when they checked in with them, they were still feeling the impact of that. So I want to invite you into that practice, to take that on for yourself and see what happens for you. If you just turn toward your own heart right now and tune in to when was the last time you experienced beauty that brought you to that place where you felt both small but not insignificant, that belonging as well. I like to make a practice of looking for beauty. When I travel, some people think I'm a little crazy and I might annoy some people, but anytime I see something that catches my eye that I find beautiful, I'm taking a picture of it. It helps me to remember, it lifts me, and I noticed that when I shared it, because I like to share it on Facebook when I travel and find these beauty moments, people are uplifted just by seeing the images. And so it feels really good. I feel like I'm of service as well as enjoying it myself. It is important for us. Spirit is right here in us. Yes? Right here. Beauty is one of the 7 attributes of Spirit. It's right here in us. Spirit is also all around us, transcendent in us. We are in... I think I'm online. Spirit, this is a way for us to give back to Spirit. We each are unique beings with our eyes, with our ears, with our hands, experiencing life in unique ways, experiencing different forms of beauty, whether it's moral beauty, beauty in nature, the arts. We have so many fabulous artists here. So happy to see art in the lobby, Michael's beautiful art. Yes. We need it. We need it. It is a way for us to give back to Spirit, to ourselves, to intentionally notice the beauty around us in a child's face. And I'll leave you with this. In Viktor Frankl's incredible book, Man's Search for Meaning, he spoke about the importance of beauty. When he and other prisoners were in Auschwitz, and they had worked a long, long day. They were tired. They were on the floor of their hut, soup bowl still in hand, weary. And one of the other prisoners came into the hut and said, "You have to come and see the sunset." And they all went out. and took in what he said was a glorious, colorful sunset. The glowing of that sunset in the puddles of water on the ground. And they just fell silent. The man who broke that silence was another prisoner who said, "Oh, how beautiful the world could be." And it was those moments of beauty that kept them going, that uplifted them, that kept them in the hope, that kept them resilient, kept them getting out of bed, kept them rising up. Beauty supports us in all of this. It is not a fluffy thing. It is vital to our well-being and our joy. Thank you so very much. Love you all. Thank you.